following information is proudly brought to you by the National Center for Wellness.
The baby's experience in the womb is that constant being held in constant motion, and most mothers can probably relate to the fact that the baby sleeps and the baby's quiet all day long. They go to lay down in bed, and now the baby's up and the baby's like moving around, and it's like now mom has stopped moving.
Exactly.
And baby starts moving. So.
Exactly. And you can even put your fetus back to sleep by kind of whopping your belly back and forth a little bit and getting that jiggle going. Yeah. I mean, but what you're saying is exactly right. Everybody notices that. And so what's cool about this is that it's a reflex. So that means it's predictable and it's almost automatic if you do the right thing.
Right.
And there are 5 steps to imitating the baby's experience in the womb. The first is swaddling. If you do not do swaddling with the arms down and it's snug, and it feels wrong sometimes because babies sometimes struggle against it, but you got to do it because it's going to make the other S's that you do, the other things that you do to imitate the womb, work beautifully. And then once the baby is calm, the swaddling keeps them calmer longer and gets them sleeping longer. So swaddling is the cornerstone for at least the first 4 months of life.
That's great.
That's the first step.
That makes sense. Okay.
Second is the side or stomach position. Now, the back is the only position that's safe for sleep, but it's the worst position when the baby's crying.
Okay.
So for sleep, it's on the back. But if they're crying, you roll them towards their stomach, or at least on the side towards their stomach. The third S is shushing, which is loud, kind of shh or white noise kind of sound.
Right.
It's as loud as a vacuum cleaner when they're crying, and it's as loud as a shower or a soft shower when they're sleeping all night long. The fourth S is swinging or jiggly rhythmic motion,
right?
Like dancing with your baby or bouncing on an exercise ball, that kind of thing. And then the fifth S is sucking, and that's the icing on the cake. So for many babies, sucking will calm them right down. Other babies, you kind of add it at the end. Once they calm down, it just gets them totally, mellow and relaxed. Yeah,
that's fantastic. Now you took all this information and this knowledge, and I guess you watched some of these babies start to grow up, and you took it into the toddlers now. And I think a lot of the moms watching this conversation or listening to the conversation have the toddlers at home too. And I know you've got a book talking about the happiest toddlers. Take us a little bit about some of the insights that you had with the toddlers that you really want to pull out, or you really want to identify for parents to help give them that nugget of information that literally helps to make the ultimate difference in the life of their toddler.
Yeah, my work, so far at least, has really been about introducing information that's not there otherwise. So, I mean, I may end up writing about vaccines and nutrition and the stuff that's in most of the baby books. But I really want to write about my insights that I learned in practicing pediatrics that were not available to parents today, so that they could be, even as someone who had no experience with babies or toddlers could suddenly, within a day or a week, be much more skilled at handling them. And it turns out that the way I look at things, the first step is having the right framework. So with babies, the right framework is that they're born 3 months too soon, and you are one big walking uterus for their first 3 or 4 months. If you get that, then you're not worried about your baby, because inside you are holding your baby 24 hours a day. So if you hold your baby 12 hours a day, maybe it seems like a lot to you, but it's a ripoff from your baby's point of view.
Half what they're used to.
Yeah. So you're not worried about spoiling your baby or giving them too much. I mean, you'll cut it down over the months that come, but in the beginning, that's kind of like the least you should do to make your baby feel attached to you and reassured and meet the baby's needs. So,
people, how do you recommend parents handle tantrums with, when a parent comes across a toddler? What's your recommendations for them?
Well, so when you understand that they're primitive, and I don't mean that in an insulting way at all, but they're not born knowing how to say please and thank you and wait in line and share their toys and that kind of stuff. That's, in fact, your job as a parent. You got to teach them that by the time they're 4 or 5 years of age. Hopefully you've taught them that. So all of us become primitive when we get upset, right? I mean, if we get mad enough, what's our term for that? We call it going ape, right?
Nice.
So toddlers are ape on a good day, meaning that they're not patient, they don't have good language skills, they don't have good reasoning skills. And all of us those sophisticated adult skills are part of the left brain.
Okay.
The right brain part is like emotionality and dancing and music,
Right.
and the nonverbal part of communication. So the tone of voice you use and your gestures.
Right.
So, for example, if I were speaking to you, just talking to your left brain, I would be speaking like this, and you would be learning information, but you'd be turning this off really fast because it doesn't feel emotionally relevant. The way we mark our information as being relevant is with our gestures and our tone of voice and the cadence with which we speak.
Right.
And so toddlers are super good at that. Even a 1-year-old, if you go, your toddler's going to know you're sad. And if you smile and you giggle, they're going to know you're happy. You're happy. Their right brains are super good at that. But your words, if you say, mother is ecstatic right now, I mean, they don't get that
Right.
at all.
Right.
Right? Flip out. So this is the biggest mistake parents make. Biggest mistake parents make with young kids. They think that the way to calm them down is to talk them off the ledge. You know,
Right.
sweetheart, settle. No, calm down, calm down. It's okay. We'll get you more candy. I know it fell in the. Calm down. Well, that's such a big gap between how they feel and how you're talking.
Right.
That for you, it would be like if you were upset at me and I said, "Oh, that's very upsetting, Rob. I understand why you feel." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You feel patronized. You feel like you don't understand what
Right.
I'm talking about.
You don't know. Right.
Yeah, because the way we communicate understanding and respect, meaning I care, I understand, and I care about your feelings, is by mirroring not all the emotion, but about 1/3 of the emotion in your
Right.
tone of voice and gesture. So, so if you were really mad at me, for example, I might go, "Look, I get it, I get it, I get it, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." It's a very kind of, telegraphic, simple, primitive language. I call it toddlerese.
Okay.
It's short phrases, 1, 2, 3 word phrases, repetition, meaning 5 to 10 times a repetition, and mirroring about 1/3 of the emotion.
Okay.
I'll do that with a teenager. I'll do that with an adult. But with a little kid, I'll especially do that with very simple language, like, your child wants to go outside, but it's raining. Rather than saying, "Sweetheart, I know you want to go outside, but it's raining," I'll end up there. It's
Right.
good communication. It's a good message.
Just take them through
but
the whole process.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's not what you jump to. The first step is to do something like, outside, outside, you want to go, you want to go, you have to say that like 10 times before your child even looks at you and goes, "Were you talking to me?
Right.
I didn't even hear it. What did you say?" Someone's trying to go outside. The conversation doesn't even begin until they acknowledge you.
Right.
So it's important to get that message, because if you don't, if you try to speak or you yell at them, either way,
Right.
your child's going to go, "I don't think you understand how bad I want to go outside.
Right.
Let me say that louder and harder, because
Right.
I don't think you got it." And then you get into the screaming cycle and
Well, it's like
all sorts of.
it's like the parody of when we talk to someone who doesn't speak the language.
Yeah,
Clearly,
yeah.
the solution must be to talk louder.
You're
'cause
right, exactly
now they'll
right.
understand. It's like,
Right.
no, you got to match them, and you got to. It's true. I mean,
About this is that all parents are excellent at speaking toddlerese when their child, in 3 situations, when their child is a little bit happy.
Yeah.
We don't just say, "Did you like breakfast?" We go, "That's yummy, huh?"
right.
So we kind of do it then. Or they're a little upset. "Oh, honey, that's so sad." Or when your child is really happy, we automatically speak toddlerese, like, "Yay, yay, you did it, you did it, you did it, yay, good job."
And
But when they get upset or frightened or frustrated, we turn into these mini psychiatrists and suddenly use this bizarre language that means nothing to the kids.
Right. And that's great, because if in our minds, think of those moments, the look on your child's face when they look at you doing that, they think you're brilliant. They're like, you get me. This is good. Think of a birthday party and how goofy we act.
They're relieved.
And the
They're
kids
relieved.
are like, they connect and they get that. So it to me, it's just a reinforcing principle that it just makes sense. And we can find moments in our lives when we've really connected with the kids. And it's moments where we find they connect with us that we're like, wow, that was brilliant. But I think it's even better
Sure.
when we find moments where we finally connected with them, where they look at us and say, brilliant, you got it.
Yeah,
And
and you
that's
got
great.
it. And what a relief. Because if you don't understand me, and you're the most important person in my life, Mom, I'm all alone in this. So
Right.
I need you to understand me. It's a relief. And you know what's interesting about this? Because as parents, we all want to make our kids, protect them from suffering and frustration.
Right.
And so we're all there. Here, let me help you with that. But kids have to learn to deal with frustration. They have to learn to fail or
Right.
to persevere.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course, I'm not saying you just hang them out to dry and you never help them. But they can go through frustration, but not frustration all on their own. It's frustration with you being a caring, respectful observer.